Hey guys, welcome to the 3-Minute Devo, 21 Days of Change. And we're reading through the book of John together. And today we're studying John chapter 12. It's a story of how Jesus was at the home of Lazarus and Martha and Mary. He had just raised Lazarus from the dead. And what the Bible says is that Mary took an expensive perfume that was worth literally a year's wages. And she poured it onto the feet of Jesus and she wiped his feet with her hair. It was a form of worship. It was a sacrifice, the cost of this perfume. She poured it on to the feet of Jesus. Let me remind you, back then they didn't have shoes like we have today. Their feet got really dirty from all the elements of the ground. And she literally went to the dirtiest part of Jesus' body and she actually worshiped. Starting at his feet, she just began to worship him by the sacrifice of this perfume. And this is the key to this story of what I'd like to share with you this morning. It says that as she began to do that, the fragrance of the perfume filled the house. What does that mean? That means this. When we worship, when we pour everything we have to Jesus, something that's worth value, when we give it to Jesus, when we lay it at the feet of Jesus, it changes the dynamic of the room. It changes the dynamic of the house. It changes the dynamic of our environment. So when we begin to worship Jesus, it changes the way our home is. It affects our home. When we worship Jesus, even at work, when we're saying, God, even in my cubicle, I want to give you every single thing I have. Even at my classroom, even when I'm listening to my professor lecture, even when I'm just out and about doing my thing, grocery shopping or whatever it is that you love to do. I'm worshiping you, Jesus, and I want your presence, as I worship you, I want your presence to fill every place that I am, literally changing the dynamic, that somebody would sense that Jesus is with me, would see something different in my life that would actually cause them to want to know about Jesus, want to say, who is this God that you serve, that you worship, that you lavish your love on? That's exactly what happens. We change the dynamic. I want to encourage you. When you walk into a room, Jesus is with you. And your life can literally, your worship to Him can literally change the dynamic of an environment. It can change the dynamic of the room that you have just walked in. People's lives will never be the same because of the Jesus that you serve and you worship on a daily basis. I encourage you, pour it out on Him. He loves it, and you'll love it too as you continue to get in His presence. Our lives will never be the same.